Welcome back to another episode of On the House with Spartan Invest. I'm pretty excited today. We have got a special guest, Miss Maureen McCann. She is a co-founder of Spartan Invest, been with us since the beginning. She is our director of wealth strategy for so many of our investors, and she's here today to talk to us about DSCR loans. Thank you so much for joining us, Maureen.
You bet, Lindsay. You know I wouldn't let you down, girl. I'm here.
I know you're the best, and all of the episodes that you join in for, they're just great. You have
Thank
such a
you.
good audience following, you big fan base.
Well, I'll just pump up my ego right before we do this. That's awesome. I love it.
So, just to start us off, what kind of just briefly, very high level DSCR program? What does that look like, and why investors might be able to utilize that type of loan program?
Yeah, so it really gives investors that have if they've maxed out their Fannie Freddie 10, I call them the Willy Wonka golden tickets, right? If they've maxed out those Willy
Oh,
Wonka golden
that's so
tickets,
cool. I like that. I like that saying. I like that.
some people might be young enough where they may not even know who Willy Wonka is or what the golden tickets mean. I've actually come across that on some calls before. That's when I realized I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little up there in the years, but whatever. So it really does. It's a way to help investors who've maxed out their Fannie Freddie 10 still want to use leverage to continue to acquire properties, not have to come out 100% of pocket to buy all cash. It's open to foreign nationals, which is really exciting because I have been doing this for 16 years, and I'm telling you, it is so hard to find lending for foreign nationals who want to invest in U.S. real estate and just can't find it. They have to either come in cash or they're paying exorbitant, very, very high interest rates with very, very high down payments. And so the program that we have, either the DSR, I always mess it up, DSCR. I always want to switch the S and the C.
So, what does that stand for, too? Just for any listener who may not know.
Yeah, it just stands for debt service coverage ratio. And all it is, guys, it's just a calculation that the lender uses to determine if there's enough income, the net operating income, if there's enough of that to cover the debt. So it really is just based off of the asset itself, the production of the asset itself, not your personal credit, not your personal income. Like a traditional mortgage, you need to have tax returns, your income statements, income verification, your DTI. None of that applies. Zero of that. So if you have bankruptcies, if you have a little few blemishes on your credit report, no big deal, right? They overlook it. It's only based on that ratio to see if the income from that property covers the debt service. It's really simple.
So, how does that calculation work? If you're looking at an investment property and you're looking into a DSCR option, what would that calculation look like? That way you could kind of do some rough math to see if it would even qualify.
Yeah, so just pretend like right now, if you guys are listening, like pretend you're the lender, right? And you're going to lend money out to a borrower. And they've got some blemishes on their credit report, so they're not going the conventional route. So they find this option, which is a viable option, and very good option as well. And so the way that a lender would calculate the debt service ratio is you basically take let's take a rental property, right? You've got a rental property, your net operating income, $10,000 for the year. So, and your debt service is, your mortgage and your insurance. Mortgage, payment and interest. Sorry, mortgage and interest. And let's say that totals 7,000 for the year. So you've got 10,000 coming in annually in cash flow. You've got 7,000 on debt service. All you do, guys, is you take the 10,000 of net operating income, you divide that by your debt service of $7,000 for the year. That comes up with a ratio of 1.42. And so what lenders look for is, and the one lender that we use for our DSCR loan, they actually go, it's low, it's 1.15 is the ratio. And so in the math that I just shared with you, 10,000 divided by 7,000 comes up with a ratio of 1.42. What the heck does that mean, right? What that means to the lender is with a ratio of 1.42, it means you can cover the loan debt 1.42 times over your current net operating income. So the higher that ratio, 2, 4, 5, whatever it is, that makes the lender feel warm and fuzzy because, hey, maybe you're not the best candidate to lend to because you've got maybe a short sale or a foreclosure or something on your credit. They don't care, right? They just go, here's the asset, here's how much cash it produces. Does that cash cover the debt? Okay, it does. Great. And the higher that ratio, the more warm and fuzzy they feel, the better chances of you getting that loan.
What are the differences, just fundamentally from a loan for a conventional and a DSCR? Would you experience a higher interest rate, or what are some of those basic differences?
Definitely. Like this is why any investor that is looking at the program that we're offering, which is no other outfit is offering what we're doing. So that really I like that. Boop, little hair sweat. What makes it so valuable is that, think about this. The last time I checked, it was just a few days ago, the interest rate currently for owner occupant rate is, call it around 7%. With the program that we're offering, we can actually get well, it depends because the rates fluctuate, right? So don't hold me to it 100%. But you guys, it's like with the discounted DSR loan that we're offering, when we're buying down, it's like you buy down the rate on a loan, on a conventional loan, we can buy down the rate on a DSCR loan, right? And so we have the ability to even get you to at or below what current interest rates are for owner occupants for 30 years fixed rate payment. 25% down for U.S. citizens, 30% down for foreign nationals. So that gives you such leverage and buying power to get into rental properties at, almost below owner occupant rates today. Like that's what's so freaking cool about this is that, if you're looking for options and you're looking for cash flow and you don't want to pay high borrowing costs, then this is a phenomenal option. If you maxed out your 10, right? It's an option for you. Yeah. Right. So I think one of the biggest questions is, what is the difference between a conventional loan and a DSCR loan, right? So conventional loan, you have to jump through a lot of hoops, right? The lender wants all this information. They want a hair DNA sample. They want your tax returns for 2 years. They want your bank statements. They want to look at your DTI. They scrutinize you and your personal income. Conventional, as an investor, right? You can actually put just 20% down to get into your investment property and to build your portfolio. In contrast, your DSCR product, they don't care about your personal income, right? You can have very little income, right? Because they're just looking at you could be unemployed, right? They just want to look at the asset, the cash flow from that asset, can it cover the debt service? And so there's a difference, right? And the interest rate. If you're conventional, you tend to be a little bit lower. With your DSCR, you're looking at usually a percentage higher on the rate. And so, if let's say today conventional is 7.5, maybe DSCR is 8.5, right? That's what you're looking at. And then the down payment, because lenders, they want a little more skin in the game, right? They're risk averse. They want a little more skin in the game. So instead of 20% with the conventional, they require 25% for U.S. citizens and 30% for foreign nationals. And the only thing that you need to supply to them is they will look at your FICO score. The lender that we use, they like 780. Will they go lower? Yes, but you might see a little bit higher increase in the rate. And your bank statements, right? So they're not pulling your credit. They're not looking at your DTI, could care less. They just look at the asset and how it's producing cash to cover the debt. Simple.
And this is just such a huge benefit to those investors really looking to grow their portfolio. Like you said, if you've used the 10, if you already have purchased 10 conventional property or using conventional loans on your 10 properties, that's max. And you can do 10 in your name and 10 in a spouse's name, but they have to be in that sole name. So outside of that, this DSCR program allows you to continue to use leverage to grow your portfolio, and that's a huge benefit. So talk a little bit about the point buy down. I know we've talked about it in excess, right? We've shouted it from the rooftops about our forward commitment and Spartan Invest buying in bulk down an interest rate to 5.5%. To those using conventional, that's a huge benefit because we have been living in the sevens and eights in the last year or so, year and a half, year or so. So talk about what Spartan is offering on the DSCR side in regards to an interest rate buy down.
Yeah. So if the current DSCR rate is, call it 8.5%, right? It's really hard to get properties to cash flow. Let's think about it, right? We've got home prices are rising, and you have an interest. It's kind of a unique time, actually. If you think about it, Lindsay, we've been doing this for a long time, and it's been. This is the first time in my experience. Maybe it's happened before me, right? But this is the first time where I've actually seen in a real estate investing environment where you have high home prices and high interest rates. You usually have if you have high prices, you have low interest rates, and everybody's buying, right? It's crazy. And if you have low prices, high interest rates, that's kind of a scenario too. We are in a high home price, high interest rate environment. So when you're a real estate investor, one of the reasons that we invest is for cash flow. Of course, we want the equity growth, and that's built over time, the depreciation that we get on our tax schedule. Those tax savings are awesome. And then the amortization, which is someone else paying down our debt while we're creating the wealth through all those other ways. And so with what we came up with, right? Because here's the thing. Let's talk a little bit about why we're doing this, right? And I'm on the sales side, so I hear these calls all the time. It's, you know what, Maureen, I'm just going to wait. These conversations started happening in like 2022. You know what, Maureen, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to sit on the sideline. I'm going to wait until the interest rates come down, right, guys? And and I've heard that so many times. And if you guys are still waiting for it to come down organically, then you've been on the sideline. Your capital's been sitting elsewhere, or maybe not producing what it is that you want it to produce to continue to build your wealth over time. So we brainstormed and we came up with and found out that we were able to buy down the interest rate, right, through our forward commitment. That's for our conventional guys, right? So if you don't want to pay 7.5% for a conventional, we got you at 5.5% for a 30-year fix, 20% down, piece of cake, easy. That got people off the sidelines because guess what? It increased the monthly cash flow because you're paying less in borrowing costs. Well, we just applied that same principle to the DSCR loan, right? So how do we do that? How does that work? So the maximum allowable seller credit that we can do, anyone, it's not just us, anyone can do, is 6% of the sales price. So that means that, and I'll take an example. I'm going to cheat here a little bit because it's all hard to remember all this stuff, right? And I'm going to wear my old lady glasses, so enjoy. There you go. All right. So here's one cool thing is that we do not have to buy down a bulk of money to get the DSCR rate. We can buy it down one property at a time, one transaction at a time. And so in this example, now you guys, these numbers may change because the interest rates change daily and the points that are charged to us change daily, right? But just take this example. Let's say you've got, a property, I don't know, $150,000, and we can take 6% of that sales price and discount the loan rate at 75% LTV. So you got to commit with 25% down. That basically is us buying down 8 points to get you to, now in this example, this was based on yesterday's pricing, subject to change. Always want to make sure I say that. So we could have locked in at 6.25%, right? With 7.737 points. Now that means you're not paying that, guys. We are. Spartan is paying that down to get you to that 6.5 30-year fixed 25% down. Now, guess what? You do have the option, if you elected to, you could individually pay points down too from that incentivized rate. So you could actually buy it lower from the 6.25
Wow.
if you were willing to pay points. So it's up to you. If you want to get it lower, you can do that. So the reason that we're doing that is because, cash flow at 8.5% versus a 6.25%, you're going to see that monthly difference in your pocket. And that's why we're doing
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's kind of what we're here for, right? Is to help investors navigate through some of these economic challenges, but still able to grow their real estate portfolio. And I know we've seen, and Wall Street Journal is stating that real estate investment has ticked up. And I think it's because investors have come to the conclusion that this is not going to change. This environment is not going to change. Home prices, given inventory constraints, are going to continue to rise. And, investors have kind of come to terms with the fact of, okay, look, I can't continue to sit on the sidelines because there is no foreseeable future. And where else am I going to put my capital and my investment right now? So, we're seeing a lot more activity out there, and being able to provide these options. That's what we're here for, is to help investors do that, help them grow their portfolio in as many ways as possible, using leverage, all cash, et cetera. What are some of the common misconceptions that you hear from investors with DSCR loans? Like, what are just some of the myths maybe that you've heard investors talk about, or fears?
Honestly, some people don't even know about it. Like, that's even just,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
some people just don't even know about it. And it's, then they'll start Googling when you say it to them, and they're like, what is this? I don't even know what that is. They don't know what the qualifications are for it. So I really don't get too many misconceptions. It's just really an unawareness of this option that's out there. And just like us, we didn't even know we could buy the rate down on a DSCR loan
Right.
until recently, right? So it's really just getting out there, networking with, those real estate investor groups, and just, increasing your knowledge base to understand what are options. Because what I have found in life in general, right? If someone says no, if you just keep looking, you're going to find someone who says yes. And don't get stuck at someone that says no and stop. Keep looking, get into those network groups, and find out what options are out there, just like we did.
Are there any specific types of properties or investments that you would say DSCR works better for, or, maybe not work as well for, in regards to real estate investing?
What would work better for? So, I don't know. I found that you can use it for residential. You can use it for, we can use it for a lot of things: commercial, residential, multifamily. You can use this loan product for anything, honestly. But I think where it benefits, and it's strategic, is for, and I'll give you an example. I've had several investors, current investors. They want to continue to build their portfolio, and they just don't have the ability to put the 20% down on the conventional side. So they're like, they just thought they couldn't do anything. So they're like, well, I guess I'm done. I'm tapped out. Right. So I'll just wait. I'm like, nope, don't have to wait. Here's a vehicle and an avenue for you to continue to grow your portfolio. But the story that I really like is he's a new investor, never invested in real estate before. He lives outside of the United States. He's a young 20-something-year-old, and he's had this dream of being able to buy real estate in the United States. And he wasn't able to, find lending options. And when he did find the one, it was, 10% interest rate, 40% down. And there's no way. There's no way he's going to cash flow. Just not. So I love this story about this investor, because what he was able to do, he did not get deterred, right? He was like, I am going to find a way to invest in U.S. real estate. But he didn't have enough money to buy it all outright. So what does he do? The power of the network, I was able to connect him with somebody who I know who specifically lends to foreign nationals in any country outside of the United States. Right? So wherever you are, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I've always wanted to invest in US real estate, but I don't want to pay all cash, I want to use leverage, there is a company that we can connect you to that not only sets up your US bank account and gets you an EIN in days, not weeks. His company also lends to foreign nationals. And we have been able to team up with Yuval to be able to buy down the rate for our foreign investors, just like we did with this 20-year-old kid out of Israel, right? And so here he is, thought he couldn't do it, and he was able to do it. So what is the benefit? Like, what are some of the benefits of utilizing this type of loan program? It's not just for US citizens. It is for everybody, whether you've maxed out your 10, whether you're just getting started and you have bad credit, you don't think you can qualify for a conventional loan, there's no stopping you. Like, there is no stopping you unless you're just not researching and listening and finding resources to be able to turn the no into yes. And we have the resources to do that for you guys. Just call and ask. We got you.
No, that's great. That's such a good success story too. Just being able to find different ways to still purchase and to get all of the benefits of real estate, especially in the United States. Mm-hmm. Maureen, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Anything that you want to leave us with in regards to DSCR, the DSCR program or loan avenue, any kind of advice that you might give to investors wanting to know about it?
Yeah, I would say just, reach out to us, connect with us. And if you've been sitting there going, I'm not going to qualify. Yeah, I got this on my credit and I got that little blemish right there. We don't care. The lender does not care, right? They only care about the asset and the cash flow it produces and if it can cover the debt, right? It's asset-based lending, no personal income, no verification. We're not even checking your tax records, right? We could care less.
And that's huge, because there's a ton of investors out there that might be sitting on a lot of capital and may not be able to check that conventional box. Yeah. And so having this as an option is so important. And if you do want to talk to Maureen, hear more about it, she's got a wealth of knowledge regarding this particular loan program and just real estate investing in general. She's been in the business for forever. Reach out to us, SpartanInvest.com. You can fill out one of our forms, say, hey, I want to speak to Maureen, and she'll get connected with you. Maureen, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing all of this with us today.
Absolute pleasure, girl. It's all about educating our investors so they just feel more comfortable, more knowledgeable, and will take action.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. And that's On the House with Spartan Invest.